Hello believers, welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be talking about if there was to be another Skylander game, right? Could there be any possibility of any new ideas that could fly through a toy to life genre? And I want to give it to you straight right here. Personally, I think not. And I'll go through it why, right? And you guys can comment below if you do think there could be new stuff. You can comment below what you personally think. Maybe I'm just really stupid and not creative enough to ever think of something like this. But maybe you guys are, right? So let's go through the nitty-gritty, right? If a new Skylander game was to come out, I personally feel like it would have to be a new game. Like, you can't really reuse the old stuff to your advantage. You could have somewhat of like a mishmash of like everything in there. I feel like that would get really chaotic in a game like that. I feel like it would get really messy. And second thing is that I don't think they would remake old Skylanders. I think they would have to put a new front to it. It would have to be kind of just a new beginning. Now, I still think that maybe the old Skylanders would maybe work. And even that's still of a question because that is a lot of work with a lot of characters that they're not even going to put out to like sell to people. Very questionable if they would even do that, right? Because they're not getting anything out of it. I guess maybe people would want to play it more, but that's a lot of work, right? And maybe they could just import old stuff. I don't know. I'm not a game creator. I'm not someone that knows that type of shit. But just kind of thinking of it how it maybe works, it seems like a lot of work for a whole lot of nothing. So if we go under the pretense that, yes, we are going to have to make a new game with new mechanics and just a whole bunch of new characters and restart this whole series from the ground up, right? What could they do that wasn't taking from what they previously had? Because we have a lot of things already put into this game that I personally cannot think of any at all, right? So let me list them off for you. We got normals, right? We got the cores. Then we have giants. Then we have swappers. Then we have kind of like a transparency kind of deal with trap team. We have cars, right? Like literal little cars with Skylanders that work with it. Then we have making literally your own character, right? Like that is the final thing we got. And then we can go into like more miscellaneous things that personally probably wouldn't even be like a core staple of it because of it just being kind of a relevant thing no matter what. So we got like light cores, we have flocked, right? I don't think they would do that, but we got flocked. We got the minis, right? So again, we kind of have to take that out. There's so much more, right? Like you got obviously the chases. Obviously chases can't really part things, but we're putting it in there just to fluffing everything in. And I think that's all, but there's a lot of things that they have already incorporated into their figures, right? And I personally can't think of what else you could do to a toy. A toy is so limited to what they can do to it, right? It became so limited that to the future of the game, it became accessories were the key part, right? It wasn't even the Skylanders themselves. It was more of, hey, this thing is going to be a part of the new game and it's going to become a core staple they're going to have to use inside the game, right? Traps and cars. And the problem with traps and cars is that they lose value after a couple games. Like the supercharger cars, they had nothing to do with Imaginators. They had no play. You couldn't have a supercharged car. There was no car driving sections, for better or for worse. So they got limited to being just the things you use in a car race, which I, again, highly doubt many people were playing in the beginning. So they got reduced to atoms. They became their value gone within a snap of a new game. Then when it comes to traps, it's a little bit more skeptical on my side of things. I know in Superchargers you can use it to get like the boss cards, and you can also get it to use like while you're driving in the driving sections. But when it comes to Imaginators, their portal does not have the trap system, and I don't think they do anything. So maybe I'm wrong on that. You can tell me in the comments below. Maybe they do a little bit more. But they've been reduced from what they originally were, which was to capture villains and use them to play. So something like that, again, could work. Maybe you can think of something that, you know, could work. Simple accessory. But I don't think that would drive enough people to go to it, right? I personally, right, like the cars, and like no one really liked the cars. Even Imaginator crystals could even be considered like that, right? Because like the characters themselves really didn't do much. They let you power up the things that you were buying, which weren't characters. They were things to make a character. The last thing I could think of that, again, I don't think they would do is just adding another element, because one, they already did that. They already added a new element. and that was the light and dark, right? That wasn't even like a gimmick itself. It wasn't. They could have made it into a gimmick. I definitely would have seen them just been like, there's the new game coming and there's new elements here for you to explore. But no, they just made it like these mystery characters for Trap Team. And what did they get reduced to? They got reduced to just being characters. They are just characters. They're nothing special. They're just slightly rarer characters because there's less of them, and I don't think they would probably make as much. Maybe they did. I don't know. They're just characters in my eyes. I know the ones from Trap Team were rare, but everything after that, I did not care to look for. And actually, speaking of that, I could find them quite easily, right? Like, you can go onto eBay right now and look for, like, Astro Blast. Bro, there are so many of his packs sitting there. But to be fair, he is a supercharger. And superchargers aren't the hardest to find in boxes, right? Like, they are probably the easiest if you want to complete a whole collection. So, where does this leave us as to what we would have to do to make a game that, one, will actually make somewhat of a profit and not be a total dump, and will keep people happy, right? We don't want to besmirch the good name of Skylanders. So, what do we got? We have to either A, think of a type of new toy thing we could do to Skylanders, which again we are very limited on, or B, think of a gimmick like cars or traps that would probably get reduced within a new game if another game was to be made after this one. So we don't got a lot of options here, and I'm more leaning towards the accessory thing just because we really don't have anything for toys. Unless, again, I can't think of any. I've sat here, I thought about it for like 30 minutes. I was planning to try to give out some, but I physically cannot think of anything. And maybe this is really why Imaginators had to be the last game. Imaginators was physically the last thing they could possibly think of that could drive enough of a bargain to come back to the game, right? Like during Trap Team, and then after that, they stopped messing around with characters and like trying to make them look cool, make them look different. They just fully went hard on the accessories. For one, probably it's a profit, right? You're getting characters to be bought, and now you're getting accessories for those characters to be bought. That's good income, hopefully, if people want to buy it, if they are willing to buy it. Two, characters on just a little like plate can't really go much further. They really hit their resources on big, small, fuzzy, light core. And maybe if they didn't really use up all these resources, maybe we would have a couple more games, right? Because I could probably see something where their characters would light up, right? They already did it. They did it with Giants. And maybe if they didn't do it in Giants, maybe eventually it would have been a game where your characters would have been lit up, right? You would place it on the portal. You'll see this power rising in it. Like, I could see a game just based off of that, and I definitely would have bought it. Because I didn't care what was coming out. I just wanted to play more Skylanders. So, I physically can't think of anything. I really cannot think of a single thing that they could do different. So I'm going to end it off here with, if I had to absolutely come with something up to what they could do to make one final game, right? We could bring it back, brand new, fresh as ever. What could they do? Personally, I really do think it would have to be a remake, and it would probably go virtual. And again, in a video where I mentioned why I don't think Skylanders could come back, you can go watch that if you want. There obviously was people in there that said like they wouldn't work, and yeah, I personally don't think a virtual world would work for something like this. The whole function of Toy to Life was that you're getting these physical things to place onto this game, watching the character you have in your hands go onto this screen. And virtual, well, that just takes away the whole premise of it, right? Now we're just playing a normal game with microtransactions that lets you play as different characters if you buy them. Now, they could still probably make it in a way where you could use your old figures, but maybe they wouldn't because they want money. And money is the drive of all good and evil. And maybe I should have prefaced this in the beginning before I went in my whole spiel, but I don't say these things just to be like a negative person. I personally just say these because it's kind of what logically comes into my head, right? I would love to live in a world where I could just say, yeah, there could be new things that I can list off 1, 2, 3, 4 things they could have done with the characters they had, or maybe new things that they could put in. But I really can't. And if I did, I promise you I would have done it. I was going to do it originally, but I really couldn't think of anything, so I had to reformat this to fit what I'm trying to talk about now, where I don't see it. So I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. You guys tell me in the comments any ideas you got. One of them that I did see on that, again, aforementioned video of why I don't think Skylanders could come back was called Skylander Eclipse, and it was basically a mishmash of everything we have got. So there was a supercharger in there was giants in there, software characters in there. They had it primarily focused on light and dark, just because light and dark, again, were kind of shafted in kind of like a major role of this whole thing. And having a new villain, right? Like, you're putting everything in there. They had PvP in there, and I think they had also like returning characters and stuff like that, which, cool, right? Like, that is amazing. I'm glad that someone was able to think of something like that, put it together, and make it make sense, right? That was pretty damn cool. And personally, I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could sit there and try to really fathom something they could do. But that's why I'm gonna leave it with you guys. You guys tell me any ideas you got. Just leave them down here, and maybe you guys can build off each other and think of one heck of a story. But that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed, and maybe don't stop believing. Maybe I'll be wrong and you guys can laugh in my face. And I surely hope it does. And I'll see you next time. Peace.